Hey, welcome to another show. Now, I was actually supposed to do some stuff on this whole Diddy scandal, and my spirit was just having an issue with it. I was like, man, I do not want to talk about this fool. I could care less about Diddy. That fool couldn't even rap. He was like one of the worst entertainers in the industry. And that's my opinion. I thought he was horrible. I couldn't stand that fool anyway. So he's getting what he deserves, and he has to suffer the consequences of his actions. But I couldn't bring myself to make any content about this guy. But as I was looking for some stuff on Diddy, I came across this clip kind of making some reference to this whole P. Diddy scandal. And overall, this gentleman he was talking about the conditions of the Western world, both here in our country and in Europe. And as much as it wasn't very good, I will say, and you're going to see it here in a minute. It was not pro the West. It was actually talking pretty greasy about the West, but it doesn't mean it wasn't the truth. This gentleman's name was Shahid Bolsen, Shahid Bolsen. He's a pretty dominant member in the Muslim community. I'm not Muslim, I'm not Christian, I'm not a Buddhist. I'm not coming at this from any religious point of view. But when I hear truth and when I hear wisdom, I don't care who's speaking it, man or woman, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, it doesn't matter. If the information is solid and it can enhance my well-being and it can enhance my perspectives, it's worth listening to. And ultimately, it has to do with the conditions of our country and what we're seeing every day. You see it in Hollywood, you see it in social media, you see it in politics. I don't care, Republican, Democrat, middles, it doesn't matter. The level of dysfunction and corruption and immorality and unethical behavior is it's almost inhuman. It doesn't even make any sense. It's counterproductive to humanity. It's gonna matter. As a matter of fact, it's gonna destroy our culture, and in the long run, it's gonna destroy humanity. That's how bad the situation is. That's how bad the behavior. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense at all. So here it is. This is Shahid Bolsen, and he's spitting some facts here. So I want you to check this out, and we're going to talk about it.
Well, from the angle of social commentary or social critique, the Diddy case is quite rich. There's a lot to talk about. For me, the most interesting thing is what is demonstrated on multiple levels about the Western psyche. I mean, whether it's Weinstein or Epstein or Diddy or, say, R. Kelly or Dominique Strauss-Kahn, who everyone forgets about, the predation and the degeneracy of the super rich is always met with disingenuous shock and disgust. While simultaneously, without fail, we're also always told that everyone knew what these people were doing for years. And in fact, I think that most people do understand that this is how the super rich behave. So the shock is not genuine. But if we're being honest, the disgust isn't genuine either. Because in fact, being rich enough to behave this way is precisely why many people want to be rich.
Now, you hear what he said? He's talking about Diddy. He's talking about Epstein. He's talking about Weinstein. And these are what they call the ultra rich, the highly privileged classes of this country. And you see every time how they act and what they're into. And when they get caught, everyone wants to say, well, they knew what they were doing all this time and what they're into, as if I don't understand why it has to be this way. These people, when you have money, you can do all kinds of things with your money. But this is what it seems like. This is a pattern. You see it all the time. It doesn't fail. Like there's some type of crazy sickness that's going through the ultra elite, and they're not what you think. By any means should they be glamorized or glorified or worshipped. They are some of the most low life individuals on this planet. But for some odd reason, we pop them up. We go see their movies. We buy their records. We go to their concerts. We give them their money. And we're wondering why things are in the conditions that they are. We better check our own self. Who is doing it? Is it them or is it us?
The predation and the degeneracy are not peculiarities of the wealthy. The thing that makes them different is that they have the resources that enable them to do it. But for a very large percentage of people in the West, the only thing that's preventing them from behaving the same way is their comparative poverty, not their comparative piety. The rich are
Mm.
not necessarily any worse than the
Facts.
rest of the people morally. Their wealth just removes the constraints that restrict other people from being just as bad. I mean, if you look at popular entertainment, the sort of lifestyles that are promoted in popular entertainment and were promoted in the film and music industries by the likes of Weinstein and Diddy and R. Kelly and everyone else, that's the degenerate, debauched, hedonistic, anti-human, immoral lifestyle that they were living and to which the consumers of that entertainment aspire. It's completely consistent with the mentality of colonizers and slave masters. The fantasy
Now hold on. You heard what he said. We give them their money. They go off and do what they do. We glorify it. And the funny thing is, we're looking at them because they have the money, like he said, to engage in this type of behavior. And what is preventing you? I have to even check myself. If you were given that type of money, what would you do with the money? Would you be on your high and mighty and just help the community and go save the planet? Or would you, for the most, like he's saying, what only thing that prevents you or myself or others to engage in the same type of BS behavior is the fact that you just don't have the money and resources to engage in that type of behavior. That's the only thing preventing you. So they're acting disgust and they're acting like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what Diddy did. But for the most part, put most people, many people, men and women in the same situation with that type of resource, what would they do? They probably act and engage in the same type of activity that Diddy, Weinstein, R. Kelly, all these individuals do. It's just performative. It's just fake. Like he says, the disgust is not genuine. Only thing that you're disgusted with is yourself, the fact that you can't do the same thing because you don't got the money. That's how crazy this is. He's speaking some facts there for real.
lifestyle for Westerners is brutal. It is to dominate, to humiliate, to exploit, abuse, subjugate, degrade, objectify, dehumanize, tyrannize, and enslave. That's the Western fantasy. It always was, and it is now, and they act upon it any chance they get. I mean, they'll prosecute these types of people, these select cases, only to absolve themselves. You know, they need to burn someone at the stake just to convince themselves that they're better than them, that they're more righteous and more moral than them, but they're not. Most of them are not. I mean, look at any music video, almost any music video, and tell me how it's not promoting the exact same lifestyle that you claim to hate Epstein and Weinstein and Diddy for. Meanwhile, those videos have hundreds of millions of views and hundreds of millions of likes, and you
Hey, you listen to what this guy's talking about? He is speaking the truth, and it's not comfortable. Trust me. I live in this country. I was born here. I love this country, but we are not functioning. There is a level of hypocrisy that we engage in on a daily basis that is destroying our culture, it's destroying our country, it's destroying the planet, the humanity, the spirituality, the divine nature of the people that live on this planet and in this country. It is it's stealing our humanity. It's stealing and corrupting our divine nature. And we have to start recognizing this and stop engaging and stop promoting this type of behavior, especially if you're trying to have a family. What are you doing to your children? What are you doing to yourself? What are you doing to your wife? You're kicking yourself in the teeth. And we have to be real about what we're seeing going on in our culture. It's not a joke. It's an absolute truth, what he is saying. As uncomfortable as it may be, it is the truth. And karma's setting in. You're seeing it every day. You're seeing it every day. And we better do something about it really quick and start recognizing and doing some serious soul searching, or we're going to have hell to pay. And there's no avoiding it. That's just the way it's going to be.
memorize the words of those songs. You have a problem. You can't reform yourselves You can't reform and rehabilitate your so-called civilization by just prosecuting token offenders. Finding these people guilty doesn't make you innocent. When you made them rich and you made them famous on the very basis of the degenerate messaging that they promoted and that you devoured. You've endorsed it all along, and you endorse it now. You aspired to it then, and you aspire to it now. I mean, think about it. Everybody in this case, in the Sean Combs case, everybody wants to know about the celebrities who were at those parties. No one wants to know about the nameless, faceless executives, the obscure, pasty old men for whom those parties were undoubtedly actually arranged in the first place. The celebrities were just the draw. They were the party favors provided for those anonymous owners and controllers of global financialized capital. But you want to know about the celebrities because
See, this is the thing about Hollywood, and we're learning this. We've always known this, and you have to see this. These people are corrupt to their core. They are not worth adoration. They are not worth, I mean, give me a break. Taylor Swift, Diddy, all these, Beyonce, all these individuals, give me a break. These people are not what you think. And what, like he said, we give them their money, we give them their resource, and we are condoning this type of behavior. And we wonder why society is not functioning right now. Really? We have to be real with ourselves, folks. We got to stop being hypocrites. And we really, really need to start paying attention to where we spend our time and our resources and our energy and where we put it and how it is focused, because we're doing it to ourselves and we can see it. The result speaks for itself. That's why the country is in the conditions that it's in right now.
even in your proclaimed disgust, you're still fantasizing. So I find the selective disgust to be performative. And that's actually useful. That's a useful thing to know about the Western psyche and how they respond when the crimes of their society get highlighted. Because, yes, in my view, these are crimes of Western society because the individual crimes of someone like Diddy are reflective of the values and the aspirations of Western society itself. So when these crimes get highlighted, in other words, when for whatever reason, for any particular individual, these crimes are suddenly and selectively subject to accountability, there's a choir of hypocritical condemnation and outrage. Now, that matters to me, for instance, in the context of the Article 6 campaign to expel the United States from the United Nations, because just like Diddy or Weinstein or whoever, just like those criminals, and just like how everyone has known about their degeneracy for years, so too everyone knows about America's crimes. And just like with Diddy or with Weinstein, everyone is complicitly silent until the moment of accountability comes. Then they all rush to a microphone to distance themselves and disown the criminal with self-absolving condemnation. So this is why you might see France and the UK not veto Article 6 at the Security Council, because once we bring all the US violations to light in an official venue, not just in an essay or a book or a lecture or what have you, but actually in an official legal venue, violation after violation, crime after crime, human rights abuse after human rights abuse, stretching back for 8 decades, and call it out for what it is, why France and the UK are likely to act just like every associate of Diddy or Weinstein or Epstein or any of these other degenerate predators and race each other to the podium to condemn and distance themselves and exonerate them.
Now, one thing I do want to say, he keeps making reference to the West or the US or America. Okay. I'm not the government, nor are you. So they need to be really careful. That's where I push back a little bit on his rhetoric in the sense of him condemning America. That's fine, but that doesn't mean the people. He's condemning the power structure and the people who run this country, the American aristocracy and the aristocracy of Europe. Let's make a distinction here. The people of these countries, the people here in this country, we're not to blame necessarily for this. A lot of it now, we have to take responsibility for our actions, but we, for the most part, have been induced and been programmed and manipulated to act and behave in a certain way on purpose through the media, through propaganda. We all know this. So, and this is done by the elites, by the American aristocracy, both here and abroad. So when he's speaking about America, he needs to be more specific and know who he's talking about. He's talking about the ruling class, the privileged classes of this planet, who engage in this type of behavior and who subjugate the people of this planet to act and behave in the very unproductive and immoral way that he is describing. It's not just the people. The people are just the victims. Yeah, it's our responsibility to take note and to make the necessary change, but for the most part, it has been done intentionally by these ruling class of people across both here and across the globe.
Themselves and try to salvage their own reputations and polish their own image, and assure the world of how good they are, how law abiding they are, how principled they are, by throwing America under the bus. I mean, do you think that any of the European colonial powers were actually happy to watch the US take over their empires? No. France and the UK are both seething with bitterness and resentment and envy. Why, they'll be just as happy to watch America fall as all those associates and co-conspirators of Diddy
You're seeing
are
it
happy
now.
to watch
You're
that
seeing it now.
belligerent criminal go to jail, if they have been clever enough to protect themselves from being prosecuted themselves for their association with him. I think France and the UK are just the same. They're in the same position as those associates of Diddy. They won't veto Article 6 because it would too blatantly expose them as being part of the same criminal syndicate as America. It's like cutting a deal for immunity with prosecutors. This is why it's useful to understand the psyche, because frankly, it helps with analysis and strategizing, to understand the Western psyche, to know who you're dealing with and how they behave. I mean, there are actually so many facets to this story in terms of social critique. Like the fact that, okay, someone like Diddy, and actually most of the artists who were associated with him, were actually mediocre talents at best, with one or two exceptions. But you can literally see people uploading independently on social media today, who are immeasurably more talented than these people are, than the people who the industry designates as being top tier artists. Now, to me, that reflects the financialization of the economy, whereby billionaires are created not by producing, not by creating.
That's another key fact I want to bring up, and we can see it in social media and what we did. Way more talented individuals promoting themselves, coming out on YouTube, coming out on TikTok, making their own social media platforms, Instagram. But see, they won't conform to the establishment, the Hollywood establishment, and the current rulers of that little club they got going over there. And so, but you can see it. Way more talent is out there than we're taking over for the most part. Hollywood's becoming obsolete. These people are, mainstream media is becoming obsolete. We're taking that over because we're more talented. We make better content. People listen to us. They can relate to us more because we're real people. We're not this fake media or this facade that Hollywood puts on. And so, yeah, this is why YouTube, this is why we make our own content, because we do it better. And that's just the bottom line, because it really is just fake. These people don't do nothing of any substance. And most of these people who are in Hollywood or in the music industry, they're put there. They're plants. They haven't earned their spot. They've sold their soul. That's how they got there. And you can see it with Diddy. For sure, you can see this now.
Not by manufacturing, not by actually making excellent products, but just by manipulation of financial markets, virtual money, virtual valuation of shares, stocks, what have you. Like I've said before, Elon Musk did not become as rich as he is now by selling Teslas. He got rich through financialization and share buybacks of Tesla to artificially inflate the share price, resulting in his net worth ballooning for no reason whatsoever connected to production or to sales. So in the financialized economy, profit and wealth are disconnected from actually creating or manufacturing products of value. It is unearned money. So it's the same with artists. It's the same. A singer or a rapper or what have you, it's like a Tesla. They're just a financial instrument. Their profile is the source of their profit. Their celebrity is the source of their profit. And it doesn't matter at all whether they have any talent or not. Just like it doesn't matter that there are so many electric cars on the market that are objectively superior to Tesla. Nor does it matter even that electric cars anyway are already absurdities to begin with. No one cares. You only have a company so that you can have shares in that company. Making things is tertiary to the purpose of a company, just like talent and producing quality songs or performances or what have you is tertiary to the purposes of an artist or a performer. Entertainment and art have been financialized. So, in other words, the people who are making the most money and who are running those sectors.
Now, he was talking, I like Elon, okay? He may not be a fan, I'm not quite sure, but what he is saying about the financialization of our economy and how it really works is facts, is how it works. You can see it today in the stock market. What's the stock market today? Around 42,000 and some change, or the Dow, excuse me. That's crazy numbers. And ultimately, the reason you can't even get into the stock market, I mean, shares are costing hundreds of dollars for one share of various, whether it be Tesla, whether it be who knows, whatever stock you want, Microsoft. These shares are way overvalued and way overpriced because they do it exactly like he said, through share buybacks and very, very creative accounting in order for these guys to get their wealth. But they haven't necessarily got it by making real products and service or providing any real value. I do like Elon's products. There may be cars on the same level as a Tesla. That's for debate. That's not what this show is about, but nonetheless, he is describing how these people are not the most talented or necessarily don't get there because they've earned it. It's given and it's created out of thin air through financialization and kind of very creative accounting. And so that you need to understand that. That's really how it works.
Don't care even slightly about quality or producing anything of real artistic value. This is why you have so many celebrities that everyone wonders why on earth they are celebrities when they observably have no talent whatsoever. I mean, the most obvious example, of course, is the Kardashians, who don't even pretend to have a talent. But I mean, you can find countless others among those people who the entertainment industry tells us are the most talented people in their field, but who are painfully mediocre in reality. Well, okay, this is in and of itself
Real talk.
corruption. These are people who have built wealth without building value. So it's both corruption and immaturity. It's deceitful and parasitic, and it divorces reward from merit, from work, from discipline, from worth. It's getting without deserving. So you don't go through the development process as a person or as a society that you have to go through to actually deserve reward. That's the maturation process that can actually make you appreciate the reward once you have earned it. It's the maturation process that gives you integrity.
So what you think about that? That man was spitting some truth. Whether you know him, whether you don't, whether you're a Muslim, Christian, it doesn't matter. When I hear stuff like that, I have to listen and I have to take note and do some introspection and say, man, what he's saying true? Is what he's saying accurate? Does it hold the test when you compare it to society? And it holds up. And you can see it all around you. You can see it in Hollywood. You can see it in social media. People are not functioning right. They are pervertedly dysfunctional. And it's almost inhuman. It's so counter and so negative, so destructive to the spirit and to our culture. You would call it inhuman because it doesn't perpetuate or doesn't have our well-being in mind. It's no good. And so what he's saying is the truth. And we need to recognize this so we can do better. So I can do better. So you can do better. It only makes us stronger. It only enhances our character. It enhances our families. It enhances our communities. And it's important. We have to identify the problems and be real with ourselves and say, man, we can do better. We can act better. We can enhance our values and not be a part of this degenerate society that's being built. Because carry this out for another 2, 3, 4, 5 years, there's not going to be much left of this culture or this country. I'm telling you, and I think you know that. You can see it. It's no good. We have to make some serious change, and like yesterday, or there's not going to be anything left to save. So start really thinking about how what you do as an individual to affect change in a positive way, and not aiding and abetting criminals, and not promoting this degenerate behavior like through Hollywood and all this crap you see on social media. We got to change, and we can do better. And ultimately, it's just going to make this country a better place here, and not just here, but around this planet. And we can do it. We have to just use our consciousness, start thinking straight, and start having enough courage to recognize what the truth is and stop doing what is not enhancing you. It's destroying you. And that's the truth. Hey, with that said, once again, thanks for watching the show. I appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It helps the channel grow. It's much appreciated. Yeah, and I'm going to catch you at the next show.